Shalom, Kal Halalgam, La Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. Special thanks to the apostles, the GMS, and all the brothers out there teaching in sincerity, teaching the truth, teaching that the mark of the beast is the RFID microchip, teaching that Esau is the so-called white man, and just basically the truth doctrine. Alright, we're looking at an article. History shows us how calamitous the North Korea crisis could become. And this is a picture of World War I. And this basically is an article of how Esau gets down. I'm going to read a little bit about it. When today's historians look at the confrontation between the United States and North Korea, they are likely to hear echoes of ultimatums. Now, ultimatum is... Well, let's just do this thing. A final demand or statement of terms, the rejection of which will result in retaliation or breakdown in relations. All right. So that's how this guy gets down. That's pretty much how all these countries get down, all these other nations. But yeah, the white man is the devil, and it doesn't mean white skin that you're the devil. That you could be an Israelite that looks like a white man, and just like you could be a black person or a Negro or any other Israelite that looks like an Israelite but is actually a Edomite. And today at work I was doing a civil rights training, and this is how Esau makes you fill out applications for entitlements like food stamps and all that bullshit. He has a question that he asks you, what's your race and ethnicity? Because according to him, a race is what you physically look like. Like you could have blue eyes and blonde hair, but you're really an Israelite. So to give you an example is you could be from Ireland and you have to say your race is white, but your ethnicity is Irish, or or Italian, or whatever. For example, you could say you're white, your race is white, but your ethnicity is Native American, because you live like and ethnicity is something that goes to your heritage and background. So the race is to identify what color you see yourself as, and ethnicity is to explain to Esau what heritage you're claiming. All right. Let's see. Because let me read a little bit about it. And it's just a little, Ike's bluff. In the nuclear age, the cost of miscalculation are much greater, but good sense and luck have prevailed so far. Evan Thomas explains in Ike's Bluff, which is an ultimatum, that President Dwight D. Eisenhower appeared close to the brink in the Korean War in 1953. Alright, so this is how it goes. In 1953, that was 45, like 8 years. 8 years after Little Boy and Fat Man. Now, just so you understand, little boy was dropped on Hiroshima in Japan, and it was a 15 kiloton weapon. Fat man was dropped in Nagasaki. It was a 21 kiloton weapon. Little boy was highly enriched uranium. Fat man, highly enriched plutonium. So he already used these weapons. So there's his substance for his threat. He basically said, you know, we're gonna have to drop some bombs on you. And he was explaining that to, let me read it. If the Chinese and North Koreans fail to come to terms, American diplomats were to broadly hint the United States would expand the war with nuclear weapons. So, but now North Korea has nuclear weapons, and you see him launching missiles. He's launching them all because he's showing Esau, man, I ain't scared of you no more. I'm gonna get that scripture in a little bit. So right now, I'm gonna get scripture. Let's see. This is Micah 2:1. Micah chapter 2 verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. Right, and in Job chapter 9, it tells you that the world was given to the wicked. But this scripture explains to you how they devise iniquity. So they constantly planning on how to mess up Jake. So and that's basically in Los Animals Laboratory. That's how they designed these two weapons, Little Boy and Fat Man, and a whole bunch of other weapons. And they use them in Japan, and now Japan is an ally. But before, they were an enemy. But they dropped the bombs, and they said, if you don't want no more bombs to be dropped on you, you will comply. And I'm gonna get Joel 3:10. End it on that. No, that's not it. Still in Micah. Alright. So it's right there. So this guy's Dwight D. Eisenhower told his politicians to hint on the use of more nuclear weapons, expanding the war into nuclear weapons. And at this time, North Korea didn't have shit. China didn't have shit. So they're basically punking these guys. All right. But now North Korea is in Russia and China, India, a whole bunch of other nations got their weapons, and they're saying, well, we ain't fucking scared of you no more. And this is why. This is Joel 3:10. Beat your plowshares into swords. Because if you had plowshares and you didn't have swords, and you have to beat those plowshares into swords, that means that you're impoverished, that you're broke. All you have is money for either or, not both. Okay, so these countries that now have these nuclear weapons, at one point in time, they were beneath the United States and Esau, which is a beast in Edom, Rome all over again, because their thing is war. So beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, because basically they were farming, or they didn't have the resources to have weapons and fortify their military. Let the weak say I am strong, and that's what that fucking North Korean president is doing, or dictator. He's saying with every missile he launches, and he's gonna launch another one this Saturday. With every ICBM he practices with, and he's got all kinds of weapons now. He's got a hydrogen bomb. He could put that on an ICBM and send it over here. But we're at the end because this is just happening right now, and it's time for Yahushua to come back and rescue us. So just to wrap this up, North Korea is no longer weak. They're saying, I am strong now. We ain't fucking scared of Edom. We ain't scared of the USA. And all World War III is going to come and pass, and Mark of the Beast is going to pass simultaneously. And it's going to get fucking crazy. So with that, Shalom.